Recently, I got a call from a existing client or the representative of an existing client who is getting older now, and they're having to contemplate looking at assisted living. Talking about how best to pay for it. The cost of the assisted living in this case is almost about $7,000 a month, roughly $84,000 a year, which is a pretty significant sum. Now, this particular person is in their 80s, and they've got roughly half their money in cash and CDs and things of that nature, and then the other half of the money is in IRAs. And when I got the call, they said, well, I think what we're planning to do is just start paying the money out of cash, because anything that's taken out of the IRAs is taxable. So I said, okay, let us take a look at it, and we'll come back to you with some recommendations. Well, if you know anything about the cost of long-term care, if you are in a long-term care facility or assisted living or something of that nature, most of the monthly costs that you pay can qualify for a medical deduction on the tax return. So in this particular case, we actually came back and suggested just the opposite approach. In this particular case, they should, in fact, take distributions from the IRA account, because they get such a large medical deduction that essentially it basically means that there will be no tax due on the money coming out of the IRAs. Now, the other part of the reason for thinking about doing that is because the Secure Act, the original Secure Act, changed the rules as it relates to beneficiaries of IRAs. So now, if children in this particular case inherit the IRA, they will need to empty that IRA within a 10-year period, and so therefore starting to make distributions, and it will be taxed at the children's tax rate. So in this particular case, by exhausting the IRA assets, they would be paying the tax based on the parent's tax rate, which in this particular case almost turned into a zero number. Really no tax liability by pulling out the required amount of money from IRA accounts, again, because of the medical deduction. So don't necessarily think that you need to pull money out of the non-retirement assets, because in this particular case, it worked just the opposite. It was actually best for them to pull money out of the IRAs, pay the tax, which in this case was nothing, and exhaust those assets first, and therefore leave the non-retirement assets to the kids, assuming that they don't need to be tapped later for if the stay in the long-term care facility is lengthy. So this illustrates the importance of good tax planning, looking at the current tax codes, and trying to help clients navigate through the proper strategies and tactics for how to minimize whatever happens on the tax return, how to minimize the tax impact of these kinds of transitions in life.